Bueno, vamos a comenzar con la siguiente charla. MIKAEL Chala, o MIKAEL Rodríguez Chala, va a hablar de seguridad en operadores móviles virtuales. Preséntate tú mismo y, pues bueno, son todo tuyos, ¿vale?
¿Se me oye? Sí. Bueno, muchas gracias por venir. Antes de nada, me gustaría dar las gracias de nuevo a la organización por darme la oportunidad de dar esta charla aquí hoy en la Router. Yo no soy profesional de la seguridad informática, de hecho yo me dedico a la física de partículas, pues no tiene nada que ver. Pero sí soy aficionado a estos temas y me intereso por ello y de vez en cuando le dedico un rato. Y de hecho, de verdad creo que es importante que los aficionados también tomemos parte de este tipo de eventos, entre otras cosas, porque podemos demostrar que hay errores de seguridad de tal magnitud y sobre todo tan estúpidos que pueden ser explotados por todo el mundo, incluso por nosotros, incluso por mí, ¿no? Y de eso precisamente lo que quiero hablar porque son importantes. Fijaos, por poner un ejemplo.
Like people like me. To give you an example, in August 2001, Madish Hamid from another two workers from Cisco Systems discovered vulnerabilities, the encryption algorithm used through Wi-Fi. Nothing changed as a result of that. His research, his work was just wonderful, but there were no dramatic changes. Dramatic changes came whenever a person wrote a code that said press 1 and choose the network that you want to hack. And that's when things change dramatically. This type of these errors so easy to hack by everyone, or also leaks of information exist in mobile networks, and some of them more than others, for instance, in the virtual one, and that's where I want to focus for my next 20 minutes. To give you some backgrounds, so when we send out a text message, for instance, from our mobile phone to another mobile phone operating in a different network to ours, so first of all, we send our message wireless to the tower that is providing a service to us. Base station, from there, that is sent out to another element, MSC. When I was queuing for registration, and as I said, because I'm not an expert on these topics, I asked a person whether he knew what the MSC was, and he said no. So therefore, it's good that I have the opportunity to tell you more about it. It is a network element that sends out an invoice to us, amongst others, and it operates in a specific geographical region. That is to say, it delivers a service only to the mobile phones that are located in a specific geographical region. For instance, in Madrid, for a given company, for instance, Vodafone, there may be 6 or 7 MSCs, whereas in another region in Spain, there may be only 1 or 2 or 3 in a specific network. The MSC sends out that information to SMSC. Well, this is a simplified chart. In practice, this is more complex, and SMSC routes that to the other network, but doesn't know the MSC to send it to. Therefore, for that, sends out a message and asks through a different protocol, SS7, to another element on the network, HLR, which is registered with private confidential information of the subscribers of the network, and asks what is the name of the MSC that is delivering a service to that mobile phone. HLR gives it an answer, and then SMS sends it to the relevant tower and then to the mobile phone. What is important to say is that all throughout this process, information can be compromised because there are errors that could impact any of these phases. So wireless, we are talking about wireless communication here, may be interrupted, intercepted by anyone with malintentions, could be just stand in between, in the middle, and do several things with the information. For instance, 2G communications in Spain, considering the mobile operators that we have, most of them are encrypted through the S5 algorithm. So therefore, you can decipher that. And if communication is done through 3G or 4G, the frequency spectrum is reduced and lots of noise is sent out, so therefore mobiles switch to 2G. And then another type of attacks use a false base so that we can receive this signal of mobile that we want to geolocalize, for instance, measuring or making different measurements of the potency or power of the signal that we are getting. So proof of concept was presented in RootedCon by David Perez and Jose Picot a few years ago. So in any case, these attacks forces us to differentiate the attacker from the victim. And to do that, we have to know the unique identifier, which is not the telephone number of the victim, which is the IMSI or the temporary version of the IMSI. What is interesting is that that IMSI, which is confidential information, is also included in it's also located in the HLR register. And HLR is also vulnerable. So HLR can be asked for information from several parties. So for instance, we can ask HLR for a telephone number, information which initially is confidential. So this is the reason accessing this information is so easy, because all this happens in SSS, SS7. It was born as a private network, and it was weak from the beginning. It grew and never got stronger. So therefore, there is significant vulnerability there. So this is a company offering this type of services, that is to say, consulting HLR. And I'm showing you as an example, because they give you 100 free consultation for each email account that you register. You cannot register any temporary email, but it is a simple step to take. And this is a very nonsense test. And I want to show it to you so that you can see that anyone can gain access to private information. And this is the mobile phone that I want to consult. It has a German SIM card, because I was living in Germany up until a short time ago. And so I would do it through Python. And depending on the type of information that we want to get, we make different consultations. So for instance, if we want to get the name of the MAS providing the service, so we have to use this route. If we want to get IMSI, unique identifier, we have to use this second route in red color. Well, my telephone number will be replaced by this X's, because you are all potential criminals, okay? I don't want to be too much exposed. So that's the way it goes. IMSI is there. Then MSIN, this is a unique mobile phone identifier. So for instance, this evening, you could have a false base station. You would be picking up signals from mobile phones up until you would find mine. I recommend you not to do it, because I will switch off my telephone. So that's one option, one way to do it. And another one is the following. That is to say, you get the name of the MMC that is providing a service to this telephone. It has a German card, and lots of information here. It tells me that I'm logged on. Saving MSC. I will tell you more about this. Tell me that original web name is this one. Country of origin, Germany. Telling me that I am on roaming. Well, I'm starting to not to liking it. So even if I have a German telephone, they are telling me that I am in Spain, that I'm using Movistar network, because E Plus has an agreement with Movistar. And they are telling me that's the MSC providing the service to me. That's the identifier, and says that this is unique identification. So here we have different levels of complexity. So for instance, if I have a neighbor with bad intentions, he will know that I'm not at home.
O un jefe.
It could be a boss, an ill-intentioned boss. If he wanted to find out, he would be able to find out whether the employee was sick on Friday or whether he just wanted to go to Malaga and have a long weekend. In order to find out, he would just need to check that this figure corresponds to an MSC that is operating in Madrid. How do we know this? Well, this is trivial. I'm in Madrid, I know where I am, so that ID comes from an MSC that operates in Madrid. So I could launch queries all over the place in Spain, mapping all MSCs that are operational. It would be a bit too much, but we could put together a database of phone numbers for any province in Spain, for example, Zamora, northwest Spain. In Germany, it seemed to be rather complicated. I couldn't find a database with lots of numbers associated with certain land, but in Spain, for whatever reason, it is relatively easy. So you can go to the real estate website, Idealista, where people rent their property. You could find someone renting out their flat in Zamora, saying this is my apartment or whatever, and this is the phone number. All I did here was to launch a query on those phone numbers and get the MSC that I would recover. Based on that, I would put together a map of all MSCs for a certain operator throughout the entire country. The main problem here? Well, it could be good or bad, depending on your viewpoint. Most of Spanish operators, or the largest operators, like Vodafone, Movistar, Orange, none of them responds. None of them gives you the information on the MSC. They hide information, unlike what they do in Germany. But that was until relatively recently. Until last year, Movistar, for whatever reason, would give you that number. So I could put together this map where you now know where all MSCs for Movistar are operating and the name they have. And since E Plus has a roaming agreement with Movistar, when I launched a query for myself, I got this number. 09190206. 019, well, those are the MSCs in Madrid. And since I had the map, if anyone had the map and had launched a query on my phone number, they would know that I'm in Madrid and not in Barcelona. They don't know what neighborhood I'm in. You could fine-tune that to get more details, but at least they know that I'm not in Andalusia or in Catalonia. I've tracked my brother. I've been playing around with this. Every time he came from Granada to Cordoba, or on his way back to Madrid. So you can have a certain degree of accuracy about someone's location. This is not good news for subscribers' privacy. The good news is that most operators, especially the large ones, have solved the problem. How? By including a new element in a network. When the SMSC queries the HLR, this one, instead of responding with that information, sends the information to the home router. What does the home router say? Well, tell me the information you need, and I'll make do with it. So that information doesn't have to be delivered. That regarding physical operators. What happens with virtual mobile operators? Or virtual mobile operators? The radio network they use is that corresponds to physical incumbents and others. So anything associated with the physical layers is inherited. These vulnerabilities can be found in the report published for Spain from this GSM security map that I think is led by this company. And that gives you an outlook into the type of problems that you may encounter with wireless communications. So that's the problems that are inherited by mobile virtual operators. And as regards queries to HLR, the main difference is that most virtual mobile operators like Simio and Lebara in Spain use their own HLR. Unlike physical operators, they haven't strengthened it. They haven't implemented a home router. So I did some research on this to see what the situation is. And this is it. This is the part that has to do with the physical structure, where you can get information from the network. Encryption. The encryption algorithm used by most base stations operating for different operators. Simio uses Orange, the Orange's network, and we know that Orange, in all cases, or in most cases, they use A51. Well, Simio uses the same algorithm. That is a problem because A51 is a broken algorithm. Lebara uses Vodafone's network. In 50% of all cases, they use A53. Licam and Digim use Movistar and some other network. They use A51 as well. So this is a vulnerability that allows attackers to compromise communications over 2G. You can inhibit the spectrum, if you want, to make mobile phones operate at 2G, on 2G. But breaking algorithm A51 is not enough. Knowing how the algorithm works is not enough. You need to know what seed is being used, so to say, where everything comes from. The way you may find out is by comparing a message, a coded message with the corresponding non-coded message. How do you do that? Well, as it happens, in GSM, information is sent in frames or in packages. Some of them have no relevant information, and they're filled with zeros. Those packages are sent on a regular basis. So in theory, you could capture them, encoded or non-encoded, and compare to find out what the seed is, and therefore decoding all the information. That could resolve the problem of intercepting communications in 2G by randomizing those frames that have no information with random numbers. But none of them does. No operator does that. No physical operator, no visual operator does that. And that's why we have NX in randomization. No one does it. Another problem that has to do with geolocation. IMSI is a unique identifier for each phone number. And what the regulations say is that IMSI cannot be broadcast openly in the air, or at least not too often, because that will reveal the presence of a certain mobile phone. So a temporary IMSI is used, which is broadcasting openly. But if that is not refreshed on a regular basis, it stops being temporary because it becomes a permanent identifier for phone numbers. This is what happens in every single operator, physical and virtual. As regards home routing, the largest operators have implemented home routing. But in Simio, you cannot access the MSE. You cannot access IMSI because it is hidden. But the MSE is revealed. So anyone with the intention to attack can put together a map and know where each mobile phone is. Lebara doesn't hide MSC or IMSI. I could show you the map, but you will see the problems for yourselves. Licum hides the MSC but doesn't hide IMSI, and Digim hides both, so they're stronger. This is what I wanted to tell you about. These are slides that don't say anything. They just talk about what, in theory, you can do to avoid these problems. But obviously, letting someone know whether you're at home, whether you're at work, whether you have gone to another province is not good news for mobile communications. And in this case, for communications with virtual operators. Thank you very much. That's all for me.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Down here. So does it geolocate you? Really? I mean, may I know where the antenna is? Or do you need to know where the HLR is physically? No, once it has the ID for the MSC, it knows the region where that mobile phone number could be. And then depending on the number of subscribers in that region, you might need to go into additional details. If I go back to that map, if you get 4205, well, you know it's in Murcia. But that's everything you know. There's no added accuracy. But this is so trivial. You just go into a URL. I think that's terrible because you can find out that person is in Murcia, not anywhere else. But if you want to added precision, well, you can go to other sites. But you need a much more detailed knowledge about what to do. A number of things that not everyone can do. Only experts can achieve that. To give you an example, I tracked my brother. I know that he lives in Granada, which is here. If I know that he's in Granada and not anywhere else, I have a certain piece of information, and then I can track him further using the IMSI on a fake base station to find him with a precision under 1 kilometer, something like that. Well, first of all, let me congratulate you for your talk. Bearing in mind that you are not an expert in this world and you went so far down into so many details, this is quite striking. How long did it take you? How long did it take you to put together that information for that map? Well, I do theoretical physics. I work like hell every day. I'm up to my eyes in work, but I was interested in this. So during the weekends, I would probably launch queries using my laptop on random numbers or phone numbers that I would get from Idealista, the real estate website. But I'm just an aficionado. I'm an amateur expert, if you like. I was blocked by Idealista looking for phone numbers, but anyway. Thank you very much. Well, you know you can cast your votes through Cody using the application. Let me remind you how to do this. That's mine. Well, you have root virtual to vote for Mikael, and please be back here at 3:30 sharp.